Hi, I'm Terry Southerington, and tonight we have a performance for you on the Oak Grove stage. Bird Watchers by Barbara Allen Height, better known to the Grovers as Bobby. He will be played by Steve Weingard, she by Emily Gerard. The setting? A spot in the forest. How perfect is that? So, Bird Watchers, enjoy!
There.
Hey, hi.
You aren't by chance here doing the same thing I'm doing. Does that sound like a silly question? Well, it's just one doesn't expect to find another one in a certain spot in the forest. Someone who isn't fishing or picnicking. And so I was merely wondering.
Actually, I'm trying to catch a glimpse of a certain ivory-billed woodpecker. It's almost extinct. It's rumored to be building.
Yes, excellent. The ivory-billed woodpecker is supposed to be building its nest in this very area, according to the Audubon Guide.
Oh, well, I am glad for that confirmation, really.
So, you must be my partner.
I didn't know we were supposed to have partners.
Yes, for verification.
Oh, verification. I don't know, maybe I am.
Right. Well, good. We should go ahead and set up our field station. I'm Alice Wren.
Martin Fogelsong.
I am so happy to meet you. I think we should start with maybe moving our things closer together. We can confine ourselves to this area.
Okay.
Not that this is what I call a legitimate field station, but for lack of any other word, that's what I call it.
I don't really have any objection to calling it that, really. So.
All right, so out with the equipment. You were assigned to this spot.
Well, no, not that I know of. I mean, it just seemed like a likely spot. Shady, but not too shady, and quiet. It wasn't that I had a particular spot in mind before I came out here. It's just that when I got here and I started looking around and I found this spot, and it seemed like a perfectly good spot.
But you do have your card.
My card?
Your Audubon card for identification?
No, no I don't. I just sort of heard this through the grapevine.
Well, that's not very dependable, is it? suppose you're fortunate today. I guess it doesn't really matter about the card. Is this your first experience?
Yeah.
Well, you are going to enjoy it, I'm sure.
Oh, I didn't really know what to bring as far as equipment goes, you know, being my first time and all. It's just...
Well, I always think one feels so much more at home when they have some of their own things.
Are you native to the area, Miss Finch?
Wren.
Oh,
Alice
sorry,
Wren.
sorry,
Don't worry about
sorry.
it. People often get it confused, but yep, I was born and raised just down the road.
What's that book there?
Oh, this is my official Audubon field guide. I'm scared not to use it on account of the one time I used something else. I had a terrible time getting confirmation.
What kind of confirmation do you get?
You confirm that the bird you think you saw, you actually saw.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what kind of camera do you use?
An Olympus. Do you know, one time I got a shot of a flycatcher.
Almost catching a fly?
Yes, it was a little bleary because I was so excited, but you could see the fly there waiting to get chomped. Oh.
I hope you're not too embarrassed that I'm here too.
Oh, no, not at all.
I could move over there on the other side of that tree.
Don't be silly. I mean, it's true that this is a pastime that one normally thinks of as secluded. Secluded pastime seems rather odd. Solitary. A solitary pastime. You yourself made mention of that earlier when you spoke of the quiet. One does expect quiet at a time like this, but the rules are clear. It takes two for verification, and honestly, I'm not sure what I would do if I were by myself, but I've never been paired with a man before.
Oh, I was afraid of that. I was afraid I would make you nervous.
No, you're not making me nervous.
You must think I'm peculiar then.
No, I think it's wonderful of you men to take an interest.
You don't think this is odd?
No, it's perfectly normal.
But it's never happened before?
Listen, we're partners, and I don't think we should question it. No one wants to feel out of place, and no one is. We just have to accept it. You know, you could question anything.
Who belongs and who may not?
I think we just need to remember why we're here.
Then, you're not concerned about the matter of the card?
Of course I'm concerned about the matter of the card, but I'm sure you have a perfectly good explanation.
Have you been into birds long?
I've always had a fondness for living things. I had a turtle or fish. What about you? Have you always had a fondness for animals?
I'm a writer.
Oh, how exciting.
I exaggerate my interests.
With imagination. Well, that's wonderful. Well, I'm just going to kind of get my bearings. I like to get a few shots of the area before things start happening.
Oh, yeah, that's good. The setting. Yeah, that's good background material.
I once knew a man who took photographs of the mountains and the forests when he was on vacation. And then he would blow them up, enlarge them, and hang them all over his living room walls. Quite an unusual effect.
I can imagine. He said with a curious inflection.
He only turned them on when they had dinner parties or friends over, but really novel idea.
A woman is very lovely in the woods.
Are you saying that deliberately to make me nervous?
No. It just seemed like the perfectly likely thing to say. Have you studied much on the passenger pigeon? The passenger pigeon. They say it went extinct in 1931.
Well, yes, actually. We've been doing a series of programs on already extinct birds and animals. We go back and we review the documents from Congress at the time of the occurrence. It's really a tragedy, but the thing that's most tragic is the lack of concern on the parts of our lawmakers and elected officials.
Is that what you think?
It is, I do. It was. Wasn't it?
It still is.
Oh, I think you're right in some instances.
Nothing has changed since 1931.
Some things have changed.
In the realm of official attitudes,
But
I mean.
it takes time. You can't expect change to occur overnight.
My father was in the Senate in 1931.
Oh.
A man of conscious opinion.
Not all lawmakers.
I'm just kidding.
You know, just because we're partners doesn't mean we have to be friends. We don't even have to talk if you don't want to.
Do you mean that there are couples of strangers sitting around here in varying awkward degrees of comradeship and intimacy all over this place like this?
I don't think you're ready to sympathize with the situation.
I don't believe it. Listen, I don't want to believe it. I have my own values and such, and I think you're making this up.
No. It is in the regulations.
But then again, you seem like the kind of person who knows what's going on and tries to do the right thing, so. Look, I don't want to cause a commotion, but the very idea makes me want to climb a tree. And just how many of these partners do you think are scattered about this place in various official positions?
You miss the spontaneity.
The seclusion.
The spirit of primitive discovery.
Yeah, that spirit.
But you see, there are people who want to abuse our natural resources.
Listen, it all has to do with the deliberate, manipulated, simultaneous destruction of the authority figure by radical forces. You have people that spit on the police, and spit on the fire and rescue, and spit on coaches and umpires, and you're going to have those that spit on natural resources. It only stands to reason. And some of that is going to rub off on people like myself who subsequently don't know where they stand.
No. As I understand it, it's the people who are spitting on the president and the army that's trying to save our natural resources.
Where does that leave a person like me?
Well, you writers are alone so much of the time.
Well, that's no excuse to ignore the social situation as it exists. You're just being nice. If you knock it all down, you don't have a leg to stand on.
I think it's mainly a matter of concern.
It's also a question of degrees to some degree, of priorities to some degree.
You identify a concern and you put that concern first.
People before profit.
You know, you come out here and you see what needs to be said, but I don't think you actually ever say it.
Or else everyone says it.
It's exactly the same.
People before profit, you know?
It's a matter of concern.
Or a question of priorities.
No, it's true. Do you know what's happened to me? I don't know how many times. Well, you know what it's like. You're driving down the road and you come to a sign and it says mowing operations ahead, speed limit 45 miles an hour. So you slow down and you continue driving along, and then you come to another sign that says end of mowing operations, resume speed, thank you. But the thing is, you haven't seen one mowing machine in operation. This has happened to me, I don't know how many times. The other day, I was driving down the road, and I came to a sign that said, slow, men working, speed limit 25 miles an hour. But I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it for 1 second. So I kept going, and then when I realized what had happened, I slowed down to 40 miles an hour, but I still didn't believe it. When something like that happens, you don't know what needs to be said.
You should talk to some of my friends.
If we were at a cocktail party, we would never meet.
I don't know.
You'd be sitting in the corner talking to people with dark sunglasses and raised eyebrows.
That's a good one. Women with very few eyebrows, but who always seem to know what needs to be said. You know, when I was 16, I used to imagine that I was in prison for being a spy. And I was in prison with another spy who, as it turned out, was a girl in disguise. Very quiet girl, hardly said a word at all. Very attractive, pure, very dedicated to the purpose of the mission. We were scheduled to die together for treason, so naturally we fell in love. That was the only time I ever saw her reserve break down. Some days I would save her. Some days I would save us both. Some days we died together. But prior, we had a brief but meaningful relationship.
I used to imagine in bed at night. I imagined I was a nurse, wounded in war, left for dead in the forest. Well, along came this sensitive soldier and waited with me for help to arrive. Now, he never touched me or spoke to me in an aggressive manner. He was in uniform and he was very aware of his duty, but, well, we fell in love. I was fascinating. Even wounded I was. Well, at least in my mind. But he was very aware of his duty. It called for terrific restraint.
It's funny when you're younger.
Imagination's easier when you're younger.
Just the opposite for me.
Oh, well, I guess you're right, but well, it's never easy.
And you never want to leave that prison cell.
You never want help to arrive, and you wake up in the hospital with everyone else. You know, I think it's stupid to blow up pictures of mountains and forests and put them all over your living room walls.
It is. He said with raised eyebrow. Wait!
What? What?
Shh, don't
what?
move. Don't move.
Where? Do you see it?
I thought I saw. We've got to be quiet. We're just making too much noise.
I just had a thought. I think that we are too exposed. I think perhaps we should move to another location.
I think you have a point there. And we need to be careful, and we need to be quiet and be a little more secluded. You're right.
Let's move. Okay, so where should we move our things?
You're the expert at this. You should know better than I.
Well, under cover of tree might be good.
As long as we have a good sight line. Here.
Ah, yes, this is cozy.
Okay. So, what do you do if you have to go to the bathroom?
Well, there's a restroom at the information center at the entrance.
How far is that?
Didn't you see it when you came in?
No.
Well, it's not far. You don't have to
No, I was just curious.
A man has a certain appeal when he's doing the same thing you're doing. Even more so when he's not, if you want to know the truth.
Well, I'm probably not. And I'm probably more serious about this than you are.
What do you mean serious?
Serious. My life's work. This may be my bread and butter.
Oh, you're a professional.
You know what? This may be a matter of life and death to me, whereas for you it's just a club meeting. Girls, Miss Alice Wren is going to spend all day on Saturday trying to catch a glimpse of our beautiful ivory-billed double-breasted woodpecker. Isn't that wonderful, girls?
Double breasted woodpecker? How serious is that?
It's just an attitude.
Logically, I don't want to affect your livelihood, but I hate to be insulted.
My work is very relevant to the world.
I bet you're writing a book.
It must be done with the utmost accuracy.
Men have such a fondness for the pages, moistened and flipped, exploring the world through the covers. Man speaks to nature. Nature speaks to man.
It's not a book.
Oh, I know. I bet you're writing a movie script first.
I shouldn't have insulted you.
I can see it. I see a television show. Backwoods social renegade, widowed, possibly with a small child, battles poachers and politicians to save the bird he loves. Each episode takes us deeper as man fights the elements of nature. One episode could be hurricane, or floods, or swamp poison, or alligators, or Spanish moss,
or
even
a woman who wants her man to go to Washington and save the swamp. But Mary, I would be like a fish out of water in Washington. The swamp is my home. It is all I have ever known. Wait!
What?
Don't move.
Whoa.
I feel sure I saw something of that nature. It is a big bird, right?
Oh,
How big is it?
Maybe this big. I have my field guide right back here.
I don't know.
Let's see.
I feel sure.
18 inches red crested plumage.
Well, I don't see it now.
Well, maybe we should move our stuff
Here.
Here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that can hurt.
Would you like a drink?
You do come prepared. I've often thought it would be nice to have a lemonade or maybe some iced tea or just plain cold water, but I have never done it before.
Martini? Dry martini?
You are kidding me.
I guess I'll feel embarrassed about that now.
No, really, no need to.
I thought it would pass the time.
You don't need to explain anything.
So, not only are you paired up with a man, but you're paired up with a drunk.
No, you don't need to explain anything.
I wish you would go ahead and say what you think.
I am. We have a very open relationship.
Then why won't you have a little drink?
You're not an ornithologist, are you?
I write stories or articles, whatever you want to call them, whatever topic comes to mind right at the time, or more than likely whatever's available. Sometimes, if I'm not familiar with the subject, I have to do a little research. Last year, I did a piece on canoes. So I watched some guys build a canoe, and then they tried it out.
I see.
You know, frankly, I don't really have to see the bird to write about him. I mean, it's all about the human nature angle, right? I mean, I can make him up in my mind for all that means.
Would that be fact or fiction that you're writing?
Well, quite honestly, there's very little difference in your popular magazines today. I mean, everybody wants their facts jazzed up. They want an adventure story. When I first started out, I didn't know how to do that. But once you get the hang of it, it's really kind of easy. Say you want to do a story on infections. That's pretty scientific, huh? Well, you wouldn't want to start out with infections are a result of the presence of poisonous microorganisms within the body. You'd want it more like there is a battle being waged in our bloodstreams every day, in the darkest recesses of our veins, and so forth.
That is more involving. I see what you mean.
You know, But if you're writing fiction, you want that to be a little more down home, a little more close to home. So let's say that your main character is a psychopath and he wants to destroy his entire community through the water supply. Well, you want to make him out to be the perfect next door neighbor, the boy next door, the man that takes his trash out every week and plays catch with the kids, you know?
A surprise ending. I never thought of that.
There's a longing for realistic sensationalism in the air. It's at the breakfast table, for heaven's sakes. Everybody wants their damn orange juice to taste better than the oranges themselves.
I think I see what you mean. I just had a thought. What will you do with this story?
Well,
there was a mysterious air about the forest that morning.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
What next?
Well, I would describe the forest glen in detail.
And then?
Well, then, to build suspense, I would describe some of the more common birds to this area.
Which?
Which?
Which birds? Which of the more common birds?
I don't know. I had to work that out.
Maybe you could invent those too.
Of course not. I can just... What is the matter with you?
There we are, in the mist of the early morning, watching the robin hopping along, when all of a sudden we experience the power and the glory, the winging, swoop and dipping, and there we find ourselves in the midst of a great hoax!
That's not true.
It isn't? What is it then?
Well, it goes beyond that. I mean, when you read it, beyond the truth, the way you describe it.
An extraordinary lie?
Art.
You know what I bet? I bet you don't even have an Audubon card.
Aha! That's it, isn't it? I knew it. I knew you were up to something. You were trying to wheedle something out of me. No, I don't have the card, and I wouldn't have one. I wouldn't take it if you gave it to me and paid me for it. I don't believe in the card. I don't want it, and I would never take it.
It's a matter of assuming responsibility, of being accountable.
I don't want any part of it.
This is an Audubon protected forest.
Oh, I know all about that Audubon protected forest. Oh, yeah. You sign a special register when you enter. You sign it when you go out. You sign it that the birds you observe.
People take advantage. I can't find it. I can't find my Audubon card.
Oh.
It was right here with my MasterCard.
Oh, driver's license, Social Security.
I can't find
Exxon,
it.
Gulf, Mobil.
Oh, I hate not knowing where something is.
Illegal. Both illegal. Illegal in the Audubon protected forest.
I don't know where it is.
We knew it was wrong, but fate compelled us. It held us in a tenacious grip. Oh, yeah.
I was supposed to return my MasterCard in January. Kindly cut your card in half and
Let's
return
never
it.
forget that we're in this together, he said in a whisper.
Bought a living room furniture set. Cost $2,000. That plus Christmas put it way over the limit. I don't like not knowing where something is.
Early American?
What?
Your living room, early American.
Spanish Revival.
Ooh, cha-cha-cha.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's very clear now what you're trying to do. You're trying to pull me down. I bet you didn't even want to be partners.
I came here to see a bird.
Oh, that's what you think and that's what you say, but that's not the truth. You're pretending, writing down a bunch of pretense in your book, and you're no better for it.
I still hope to see the bird, not have a conversation with somebody about their imitation living room furniture. I have to get a feeling. I have to get a feeling for my story.
But what will you do about me? What will you do with me in your story? I want to know.
Would you want to be in there?
I don't know.
Would you want to be in there as you are?
Well, I could be something more sensational. Once upon a time in an enchanted forest, flowers bloomed at the foot of a tree even though the sun never reached them. But the thing is, could I be in your story? I mean, as I am?
Well, I can see the possibility. Wait!
What?
Wait, look, wait.
Where?
Between the three pines and the maple, let's see, there are 1, 2, 3, 34 branches down on the left. Do you see it?
Yes, I see it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. It's big.
Is it an ivory-billed woodpecker?
Let me get my book.
Slowly.
I have the page marked.
Okay, what?
That must be it.
What does it say?
Extensive white on wing, folded and in flight, and white bill are diagnostic. That means distinguishes it from the pileated woodpecker.
Let me see that. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, damn, I think that's it. Oh, whoa, I'll be damned. Oh, pictures.
Oh, my camera.
Don't move. Don't worry about it. I'll send you what I get.
Well, I know it sounds silly, but I feel kind of silly just standing here and looking.
Commit to memory, remember?
I feel ridiculous just standing here and looking.
Okay, write down what it does.
So beautiful, imagine.
What do you usually do in a situation like this? You're the expert at this. You should be right at home.
Well, I don't know. It's never been this important before. It's never been this crucial. I don't remember, but just to see it, imagine. What are you doing?
Writing, making the most of my time.
Poor bird.
Do you think that stuff sticking out of the hole is the nest? I mean, do you have info on that?
Oh.
It's not very neat, are they? I mean, all those sticks, there's hardly room for the bird.
Somehow I hate to think of you're using that bird.
I hate to think of you wasting it.
It's not a waste to let something alone.
Then leave it alone. Be quiet.
It's not a waste to sit and watch.
Sit, sat, suck. I call it a waste.
Oh, a liar and an exploiter makes a statement like that. That's a waste. That's what's a waste.
I hate to think of a person doing nothing, going to club meetings, and that, look at that. That's a waste. That's a waste. Waste. Nothing. Not a thing. Wasteful thing. Wasty thing. Nothing
but what's in here?
Shameful, wasteful, rot, trivia, rigmarole, and rot, and the fact that you use that nice animal skin to carry around a lot of nothing.
You and your observations and your judgments, picking and scraping away at everything. Oh, and your descriptions and your notations. And
well, I suppose partners aren't supposed to act that way.
no, they don't normally.
She said with an enigmatic smile. So, I don't suppose it'll come back around anytime soon?
But according to... No. I don't suppose it will.
Well, I must say that it's right on the tip of my tongue to tell you how much I have enjoyed spending this morning with you and enjoying this adventure.
That's what one usually does.
Well, I suppose I'll have to think of something a little more sensational. Well, listen. So long.
So long. I'm sorry. Miss Wren enchants the forest. Oh, you! Who could ever believe a word you say? Enchants the forest.